Lunch break. Lunch break.
Hi everyone, Chris Maunu here. Today we're going to be talking about sequencing in vocal warm-ups and making sure that there's a plan and intention behind everything we do. So my sequence I like to call B.R.A.V.E.I.T, B.R.A.V.E.I.T, B.R.A.V.E.I.T. And I'm just going to take you through what that might look like in a warm-up period. So starting with B, body and breath. So before we make any sound, I love to have some posture exercises, some breathing exercises, making sure that our body is ready for singing. It could be like waking up our bodies, massaging here, stretching, putting the hands here and any of that sort of thing that will get the body ready for singing. And it's also great for the mind to have some quiet focus at the front end of rehearsal. Next up, R, resonance. I found this to be the case with all of the years I've worked with youth choirs, but I think it probably holds true for choirs of any ages, that resonance is harder to achieve if there's a whole bunch of singing before there's any focus on it. So the very first sounds have those be those hums, those lip trills, something simple. Awaken those resonators even before focusing on vowel alignment, which that's our next step. A, vowel or alignment of vowels. So it could be any of those warm-ups where there's a specific focus on vowels. I like to oftentimes just have a single pitch. Exploring colors and things like that. It gets those ears awake and gets the singers to listen to shape and color and how that all affects things. Next up would be vocal agility. V, vocal agility. So getting the voice moving, it could be where those staccato exercises or faster scale patterns happen, anything like that, and getting a little bit further into the outer edges of the range as well. E is range extension. So now that everything's functioning, then we explore really kind of the extremes of the range. So getting above the passaggio and doing those more extended notes, ya, da, 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 things like that, and getting lower into the range. I do find it important to warm up the lower range, but waiting until we get into the warm-up period to actually do that, because otherwise we reinforce the thickness of the vocal cords at the starting of the rehearsal if we do that too early. And then ideally by now the voice is warmed up. We're probably about 5 to 6 minutes in to the warm-up period at this point in the sequence. I and T are really the transition points into getting ready to rehearse the repertoire. So I is independence building and T is tuning. So independence building, this is where I would put, solfege, scale, and arpeggio patterns, but putting them into rounds and that sort of stuff, getting the singers ready to feel what it's going to feel like when they have to sing with smaller groups in their sections and so forth as rehearsal unfolds. And then T, tuning. This would be your fine level listening. I would oftentimes do like a chromatic tuning exercise where we build a chord and then we maybe move parts up and down by half steps, as they're changing positions in the chord and making sure we can listen and tune those. Bonus, if there's a moment from one of your pieces to infuse that can make that transition into repertoire even smoother. So again, what I would recommend, whatever your sequencing is and whatever warm-up activities you use, to make sure that there is intention and thoughtfulness. It's not about how fancy the warm-up exercise is, it's about the thoughtfulness that's behind it.
B.R.A.V.E.I.T, lunch break. Yum 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 yum. B.R.A.V.E.I.T, lunch break. Yum 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 yum.